What's up, besties?
It's time to spill the tea.
Welcome back to another episode of The Voice Messages.
Wah, wah, wah.
Today, we are talking all about different stages of friendships and different seasons and why friends are
Totally.
in our season for a reason. I'm rhyming. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Talking
We have so
about
much to say.
We really do. We're gonna try to make this quick, which means it's gonna be super long. There is no easy episode with us. So I want to kind of chat about friendships early on in life and how like our friendships kind of progress as we get older. So I was thinking how, when you were in whatever, elementary school, middle school. I mean, middle school gets a little dicey, but when you're early on in your like education and stuff, you're just hanging out with friends who are at your school. Like you don't really have to
Yeah.
think about finding friends because you're growing up with these people through like pre-K and kindergarten and elementary school, and you're just kind of progressing with different friendships. And it's not that you're putting that much effort into it. Like we're so young, if someone's bothering us, you kind of like do that whole like, I'm going to tell my parent kind of thing. And you just like move on to a different friend. I don't know. I don't feel like it's that serious and you're not getting that
Right.
emotional with
It,
it.
or like you meet them at like summer camp. It's kind of like, you're just like friends by association of where you are. I think that's
Exactly.
the way you put it. And what's different from being a child, obviously, and then, becoming an adult is that like you have less associations, I guess you could say, that
Yeah.
you're a part of. Like you really just, most of us just go to work. And then everything else, like, is such a chore, like to add on. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
all these extracurricular, because when you're a kid, you're like, I remember trying out like 50 different sports. And like
Yes.
that's how I met a lot of different girls. And over time, like even if I quit the sport, like my mom still stayed friends with their mom, and that's how we were connected, like friends
Totally.
by association. So you don't really like think about it too much.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, like friends just progress as you get into like the next grade and then the next school. And you're finding friends within your classroom, like you said, extracurricular activities. Like you're not going out of like your space to go find friends like you are when you're an adult. So it's just so different. And then I feel like as you kind of get into like middle school and high school, it can really get a little dicey. I feel like middle school is like the start of who are going to be your like longer term friends, who's going to be like your clique, who's going to kind of flow with you into high school. I know that you kind of had like a middle school situation. So do you want to chat about that a little bit?
Yeah, so middle school for me was fucking terrible. I mean, I know middle school for you was like really
I
opposite,
was
which really
thriving.
that like really surprises me. Middle school is the fucking dumps. Like I can literally count on my hands like all of the bullies. Like I still remember their names. I am scarred. Like it was terrible. I went home, I cried every day. I didn't have like a single like friend. Like I had like friends, but then they would go and backstab me. And the girls were just fucking mean. And I don't know, like my mom would always say, like, it's just because you're becoming pretty, like you're getting prettier that girls are jealous of you. I didn't even
Yeah.
have like a fucking like boyfriend or anything in middle school. I'm like, who's jealous of me? My hair was greasy half the time. Like I I don't know. I mean I definitely like in terms of like, my appearance, I would say my appearance drastically changed the summer of eighth grade into high school. And
Yeah.
that's when I was like, I kind of flourished or whatever. But no one was mean to me then. I don't know. So I just had the worst luck, and I didn't have any friends, and I felt like also like a lot of my friends from elementary school, I just like we disconnected, you know?
Yeah. Well, you said too that your middle school was like 5th grade to 8th grade, right?
Fifth to eighth, which is a very drastic difference.
Whoa, that's like a total you're like it's crazy what a whole year can do for you. I
For sure.
just I don't know. It's a lot. I think that and like I said, middle school for me, so middle school was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and I felt like I flourished in middle school, and I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like 7th and 8th grade were definitely more like of like my top 2 like favorite grades. We had a big group of friends. I don't know, we were thriving. Like there was so many of us and we all got along. There wasn't much bullying. I think 6th grade was a little dicey for me because I was still trying to find myself. Like you're trying to find your like how you want to dress, how you want to look. you're finding your friends, whatever. Because we also had two different middle schools. So, like, some people
We
from
had
my
two
elementary
different as
school,
well.
yeah, like, we kind of branched off. So it was like, now we're
Oh,
starting
they
all
split
over.
them?
Yeah, so it was so we had 3 elementary schools, and then that went to 2 middle schools. So you, like, had to choose what middle school you wanted to go to, and not all of my friends went to the same middle school, so then it was kind of like I was redoing this whole thing again where I had to make new friends.
Oh, wow.
So 6th grade was a little weird for me in that sense because I was trying to find myself, trying to find my group, but I feel like 7th and 8th grade were it was beautiful. Like, we were living it
That
up.
is so interesting because like the town, I guess I say town, but it's like a city now.
Yeah.
I grew up and had like, I don't know, I want to say like 15 elementary schools, and then
Wow. Oh
half
my
of them
god.
go to, I know, half of them go to one middle school, half of them go to the
Yep.
other. So we all like came together into the same middle school
Yeah, that makes
from
sense.
that school, unless like you move and whatever. Even though like the two middle schools were literally right next to each other, it made no sense.
Yeah. No,
And
ours were
then
together too. So it was weird.
weird.
Yeah.
Weird. So then, like two different buildings, but like two different campuses. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Same.
Weird. Like basically around the corner from each other.
Yep.
So it's not, and it wasn't in the middle of town either. I don't understand. But in high school though, that's when everyone merges together. Like there's like one high school.
Mhm.
And that's when I ended up meeting my best friends. Like I always say, like my best friends from home. Like that's when I ended up meeting them in ninth grade. Like we all just kind of like came together from like being in classes, and then at lunchtime, we all met, the four of us, well, now including myself, it's five, and we've
Yeah.
been friends ever since, like
Yeah.
consistently.
I love that. And that's again, it's so opposite. We've had such opposite experiences because when I was leaving middle school in 8th grade, we also just had one high school, but we also had a vocational part of it too. So it was
Okay.
technically two separate high schools, but one huge ass building. So like you could still see each other, but not as much. But
We
then
did
also
too.
you did too. Yeah.
Yeah, like
But
they had the
like,
vocational, but like sometimes they
yeah.
were in our classes, but most of the time they weren't.
Yeah, like no, so vocational and high school were like totally separated. Like
Oh.
we never had classes with the high school kids and vice versa. But like we could
Mhm.
see each other like if we went into like the actual high school building and it was kind of weird. It was like our own separate universe over there. But it was interesting because some of like my friends from 8th grade actually went to a totally different high school, like a Catholic high school, just they just kind of like ventured off. So not all of us came together. We kind of like broke up after 8th grade and it was weird. So then
Hmm.
trying to like redo that again in high school and like I don't know, it just and then that's when my husband and I like really started to like be together more and like we started dating end of ninth grade. So it was a lot of like interesting moments for me throughout high school that I just could fucking do without high school. Like there's nothing magical about my high school experience. I'm
That is
like,
so funny. It's
I'm
so
good. I'm
opposite.
good.
Like
Yeah.
I I know this might be embarrassing to say, but I peaked in high school. Like I had a great fucking time. We went to all the football games, we went to all the
Yep.
dances. Like my friends and I had the best time. And then like I had like my group of like five girlfriends, but then I also had like other friends that like we started meeting. So like at one point,
Yeah.
like we had this like giant group of girls. Like it was so much fun. I know it sounds like a nightmare, but like I was
Yeah.
only like really close with the five of them. And then the
Yep.
rest of them were just kind of like, like casual friends you meet throughout the classes and whatnot. But it was so fun. We had so much fun. And like, we like, be like, okay, like we're going to go here. And everyone would commit. Like
Yeah. I
everyone would
love
like
that.
always show up. And it was just, oh my God, it was a vibe. And then it's interesting though, because like, we all went away to college, or we went to, or we like, some of us stayed home, and we still stayed connected. Like
Yeah.
at
Which
every
is amazing.
single
You don't hear
Oh, it's
about that.
incredible. No one does this. Like it's wild. So at every single like holiday break, we made an effort to see each other. Every single birthday for each other, we made an effort to see each other. Like because we all knew that
Yeah.
birthdays were so important.
Yep.
And we've just like always like made an effort. And even if like we don't see each other for 6 months, we're texting like every other day. We're FaceTiming, we're calling each other. And these are the kind of friends where like I can go ages without seeing them and we just pick up where we left off.
Yeah. Which is
But
awesome.
it's been hard like after I would say like college for me though, like I only met one friend, and then I met my fiance.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I never went to college. Like my husband didn't go to college. I didn't go to college. So after high school, I kind of faded away from any kind of like friendship that I had because nothing was that
Substantial.
valuable. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like there wasn't really much substance there. So I found that for me, finding friends after high school or like what would be my college days is all the different jobs that I had. Like I was just
Mm.
meeting friends from those specific jobs, which like very, very, very few of them I still talk to this day. But that's kind of how I was making friends. And it was rough though.
Yeah.
Like my early 20s, it was a rough time because I was still trying to be like, okay, who do I want to be friends with? Like, what do I even want in a
Mm.
friend? Like, what's the quality? Right? You're so young, and we were at, I don't know. I just feel like I was also at a different point in my life. Like, I was starting to settle down more. I was trying to find my career. It's a very interesting time in your 20s when you have so many
Oh
different
yeah.
events and life things happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
Your
weird
20s,
time.
your 20s are fucking wild, just in general.
Yeah,
Like I would say like your early 20s, like everyone is trying to figure out their career, but everyone's at such a different spot. Like when I graduated
totally.
college, one of my friend who ended up going to like esthetician school, like she had already had a very established career. And I
Yeah,
was so lost and
yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. My other friends were like starting grad school. Some people were moving. Like it was all like you know what I mean? You're all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And
Everyone's all over the place.
I mean, it doesn't get better in your late 20s. It's a
No.
totally different transition, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But what I'm trying to say is like when you're in elementary school, like, and you're meeting people at like soccer practice at school, like, you don't like
Yeah.
you don't spend like 45 hours with them a week. Whereas
No.
when you
And
are
it's
in the workforce,
consistent with
right,
elementary friends. Like, you know, you're going to see them every day
you're gonna
at
see them every day, but
class.
you're also like not like with them consistently for
Yeah,
45 hours.
totally.
Like
Totally.
where I'm saying with your coworkers, you're with them
True.
for 40, 50, 60
Yeah.
hours, consistently constant communication.
Yes, totally. That makes sense. And it's a lot.
And it's a lot. I mean, for me, I personally like I found that I need to separate my work and my friends, but that's just me. And it might also just be because I'm in HR. Like I
Yeah.
have to separate my work and my friends, but I do have like my work friends. Like these are the people that I can text, I can confine in. I'm like, hey, like, oh my God, want to see my wedding shoes sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to the point where I'm comfortable to be like, hey, want to hang out?
I agree. And like there is a big difference between like you said, your work friends and then just your everyday like this is the person I'm going to for all life like shit, like life whatever. But I feel like again, work friends are super beneficial for you because you're with them 24/7. You need someone at work to talk to. You need to someone at work to like talk shit with about fucking, the Karen, sorry mom, love your name but not for this reason. The Karen that's in the next
Funny.
fucking cubicle like who's talking shit and making a big ruckus. Like you need a work friend, obviously. But I do think that there's a big difference. And I think that there's not many people who would say like their work friend is also their like best fucking friend outside of work. I just don't see how those
Mm,
two really collide unless you end up separating, someone leaves the job and you still stay connected to them, then that's how they
but
can become.
that
I
never
know that never
happens. That's the
happens.
thing is that like I
Yeah.
have like work, like, you know how they say like my work wife and stuff, like I have like work
Yes.
wives and
Yep.
whatnot. But then after I leave the company or, I get laid off, whatever it
Yeah.
is, I'm I'm gone and dusted, and all I
Yeah.
get is
You're moving
them
on.
freaking on my LinkedIn profile,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yep.
wow, we spent so much time together, and it's just like that, like I'm out of their life, and that's why for me, like I haven't been like, trying to overconnect with people from work like outside of the work hours because I've
Totally.
just been burned by everyone.
Yeah. And you just don't need to put that much effort into them. It's not that serious. Like I said, they're there for a reason and a season, and that is
And
your
it
work
gets
life.
messy. It gets
Yeah.
messy because like at the end of the day, like, you have like deliverables and timelines and like
Yep.
if you're friends with them, it's hard to separate like, hey, like, you're not really doing your job and hey, you're my best friend. I don't know.
Exactly.
That's really hard for me.
I agree. Kind of like segueing into losing friendships. How do we want to discuss that one?
I mean, I feel like so like I said in college, well, this is interesting. I actually have a story for you about that. So in college, I had a group of girlfriends I became friends with, like, I would say, like, sophomore year through senior year. And I obviously started dating my now fiance, Matt, senior year. And so he was kind of connected to them. So let me just
Yeah.
back up. So like the summer before senior year, I was single and I swiped right on Matt, just kind of like, oh, he's always been cute. Like we've always like talked here and there because like by
Yeah.
affiliation of other people, but we never like connected. So I swiped, he like super liked me, whatever that even means. Like I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
even
even know. I
know.
haven't even been on a dating app.
I mean, with and
Different
then
story for
I
a
mean,
different day.
it's been like almost 7 years. So then, like within like 5 minutes, he got my phone number from my current friend at that time and was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
it's Matt." I'm like, "You're so weird. Like, what do you like? Why didn't you just message me on the app?" But like, it's cute
Yeah.
looking back on it. Like, he was like not shy at all. He was like ready to be like, he's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know Joe was single. Like, I'm coming in, baby."
Yeah.
He was ready. So it was really cute though. But to back up, like that's how him and I connected over mutual friends. So
Yeah.
these mutual friends, whatever, Matt and I became really, really close to the point where like not just like, okay, we're a couple, like we're best friends as well.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to say like other people were jealous, but I think other people were jealous of the time I was spending with him. And it kind of burned some bridges naturally because
Totally.
I would rather hang out with Matt most of the time than other people. And I hate to say that, but like I feel like I can say that with you and like you're like not hurt
Yeah.
by it,
No.
right?
No.
Like, because you're
No.
like, I'd
Definitely not
rather
hurt
choose
by it.
you over anyone. Right.
Exactly.
So I'm just like, whatever. So senior year, like it was like graduation day. I don't know really what happened, but they were annoyed that Matt and I spent so much time together. And they said to, Matt and I, well, they said to Matt, they're like, you're dead to me. And
Damn.
immediately
Those are
in that
fighting
moment,
words.
I know. And like it was like really aggressive. We already had the craziest day because it was like a really hot day and then it started downpouring on graduation day. And then also on graduation day, you need to like move yourself out of the dorms.
Yeah.
Both of our families were fighting. It was an absolute shitstorm. It is like so up my alley of like, this is the stuff that happens to me, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, she's like, you're dead to me. We're like, okay, let's just pile it on. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Seriously.
And
Who
then
wants to fight?
the other girl that we were friends with, like, just ghosted us after that day because she hopped on the bandwagon of the girl
Yep.
who said that Matt is dead to her. And then she was messaging me saying that, oh, I told Matt that he's dead to me. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And that was like the first moment where I'm like, do I take Matt's side or do
Yeah.
I stand up with my friends that I've been friends with for 3 years? And I made that
Yeah.
decision. I'm like, no, it's Matt. I
Yeah.
am standing with him.
Yep.
And it's just interesting because now, like, if anyone were to like ever burn Matt, or if anyone does burn Matt, Matt cuts someone out, I'm like, oh man, all right.
See ya. We're done.
You know what I mean? Like, we're on the
Yeah.
same side. And
Yep.
that was like the first time I did that, but I do it because I mean, one, I love him. If you disrespect him, you disrespect me.
Totally.
But it's
I
just
think too,
interesting.
yeah, no, totally. I was thinking back to a point where I feel like I truly lost friends, and it was actually it was in high school and maybe like a year or two after high school. But when I started dating Steven, my husband,
It's
obviously,
it's always when you
we
start dating
I
someone.
know. And so Steve and I have known each other since seventh grade, right? We never started actually like officially dating until the end of freshman year of high school. And everyone knew that I had the biggest crush on him. Everyone knew I loved him. I'm like, I need to marry this guy. Like, I'm
You're
obsessed,
obsessed with
right?
him.
I'm
Yeah.
obsessed. And like, all my friends knew that. Like, everyone was very aware of my situation. And so I remember ninth grade, I like went into ninth grade feeling so hot, right? I'm like, brand new me. Like, we're
Oh
moving out of
yeah.
eighth grade. We're into, into high
Oh
school,
yeah.
and Steven wasn't we were all in we were in the same classes, Steven and I, but he like wasn't really giving me the attention that I wanted anymore. So I was like, fuck this, right? Started kind of doing my own thing, right? I had some really good best friends who were my best friends from seventh grade, and we like just transitioned into the same high school and everything. And then finally at the end of freshman year, Steven started to give me more of like attention, right? And like
Because you
being like,
stopped. Because you
exactly, because
stopped.
I stopped. Yeah. And
He was like,
so
wait, what?
I know. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, honey, you waited too long for me, okay?" But in the back of my mind, I was like, "I still want him." And obviously, here we are almost 15 years later. But we started dating end of freshman year because he finally gave in, asked me out. I was like, "Oh my God, this is the best day of my life." And I would say, like, I think people thought that it wasn't going to work out, right? Because most high school relationships don't work out. You're not
Oh
looking for
yeah.
your forever soulmate in high school. Like, it's just not a thing. But I don't know, like Steve and I just we clicked very well. We got along. Like we just genuinely wanted to hang out with each other all the time that he was starting to turn into my best friend versus the girls that I were best friends with. And
Yep.
again, it transitioned into more of Steve being my best friend. Those girls were just they weren't excited about my relationship anymore. Like at first everyone was like so excited for us cuz we I had been wanting to be with him for so long and everyone knew I had this big giant crush on
That's so
Steven and
cute.
like and then they just kind of started to turn a little nasty. Like they were starting to kind of like leave my friendship and they would get mad if I was hanging out with Steve and not them. And I get both sides of it. It's a very dicey situation, right? Because it's kind of like you're supposed to choose your girls over bros and that whole thing. But like, I don't know, there was just something about Steve and I that just clicked so well. And just like truly, there was nothing, it was effortless, right?
Yeah.
And so the more that our relationship grew over those like next 3 years of high school, like Steve was the guy that I leaned on for everything. Like when girls were being mean to me, like this is why I say high school is the worst fucking time for me because
Mm,
girls were just like silently like kicking me out of their groups and like I was in cosmetology for, my like vocational trade. It was just a very cutthroat fucking couple of years for me and it definitely toughened me up and it made me realize like who do I actually want in my life? Like, who's the most important? So, losing those friendships after high school, at first I was sad, of course, like, who wouldn't be?
of
But looking
course.
back now, I'm like, I'm so better off without those
I would do
girls
it.
that
And
I don't give a
yep.
fuck. I would do it over and over again for the relationship that I have now with my
Me
husband.
too. Me too. And it's so it's crazy because I like I'm now looking back and like I've always been the girl that's been in the relationship, right? Like
Yeah,
I had a steady
same.
boyfriend in high school. I dated some guy in high school for like 4 years, like on and off.
Yep.
College, I dated someone for 3 years, and then I started dating Matt, and we've been together for almost 7 years now. We're getting
Yeah.
married. And so now that I'm thinking about it, with like every relationship that started, I've lost a friend.
Yeah.
Like and
Yeah.
I don't know the psychology behind them. I'd be very, very interested to like look something up, but I'm sure that there is. And I feel like girls, like women especially, we experience that more than, or especially straight women, we experience that more
Yes.
than men. Like
100%.
when with
Guys are
their
so
like
easy.
bros.
Yeah. It's so easy with guys. Like they could get into like maybe a little argument. It's not a big deal. They move on. But also if they don't talk to each other 24/7, if they're not like totally connected, it's okay. Like they can still not talk to each other for a little bit and then come back to the friendship like it was never
Oh yeah.
even a
And
thing.
what's crazy is that like so like we had like a pretty like good group of people like freshman year that we were all friendly with.
Yeah.
And one of the guys started dating one of my girlfriends. And when they started dating, this other girl got mad. She's like, "Oh, like you knew I liked him."
Yeah.
And
Oh
then
my
they
God.
stopped being friends. Okay. They broke up.
Yep.
He started dating the other girl. And then
Oh shit.
but like obviously the girls were like really mad at each other. The
Yeah.
guys were all just like, "Yeah, bro, like it's fine, like
Yes. High
whatever."
five. Yeah. I fucking
Yeah,
hate that
it's
mentality.
and they were all the guys were friends with the other girl, and one of the guys were like that girl's like brother, and like it was very weird. They're like, yeah, like yeah, bro, like you get it. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just crazy because with like with girls, you're like, oh, you're having me. Guys are like, oh,
Yes.
get it, get it. But I also think some of it is like guys are just like they're not being fucking honest. Like
No.
they're not coming forward and be like, this upsets me, this bothers
Yeah.
me, and I kind of really
Yeah, they're
hope
not
that
that emotional.
right, and like they're not forthcoming about it. Like
Yeah.
fucking tell the truth. This bothers the shit out of you that you're
Yeah.
dating whatever. Like just be honest. So
They
for me,
definitely
like I
keep their
really
emotions, like, more secure than we I feel like girls just, like, let
oh
that
yeah.
shit flow.
Oh yeah, especially in high school too. And like I really hope that, when I have a child one day, especially if I have a boy, like
Yeah,
they know that they can talk about their emotions. If something's
totally.
bothering you, you can fucking call them out. But like you said, I would lose a friendship, those friendships again that I lost
Yeah.
in college just to be with Matt because our relationship is so much more worthy. And I don't think like people really like say that. Like you said, like,
Yeah,
don't choose the
100%.
guy over your girls.
Yeah, but I hate that mentality. I do think that again, I think that my situation is very unique, right? It's not something that you hear about all the time, high school sweethearts staying together forever and, like, really actually staying together and not cheating on one another throughout high school, not, like, doing things, like, that are fucked up, right, with a relationship. So I understand that my situation is more unique and not everyone finds that, but I do think like if you are feeling like some type of way, like kind of my situation, like just trust your gut. Like I know that it really sucks losing friends in the moment and you feel like maybe you're losing them forever and ever and it's like, "Oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. Like how am I going to find new friends?" But it's okay. Like trust your gut. You will find the right friends, which kind of
Yes.
transitions me into how I found my true friends, I guess. Um which was through social media. Like, I know that that's kind of crazy for a lot of people to understand, but I feel like it's a little bit more normalized nowadays. Like,
Oh,
social
yeah.
media is a big thing. I mean, even just like if it was a dating app, I'm like dating friends
I was
on
just gonna
social
say,
media, trying to
Matt
find the
and
right
I,
one.
Matt and I knew each other in real life, but we didn't like connect until we swiped right on,
Yeah.
Tinder.
Yeah. I mean, I met you through social media, like, oh, what, almost 5 years ago at this point. Like, I consider
Yeah.
you to be one of my best friends. Like, I also have another best friend who I met through social media. I just feel like social media is definitely a good place to start if you're feeling like you're maybe in like that adult, like later 20s. Like I would say like 25 and up, right? It starts to get a little dicey with friendships and you start to like try to kind of weed out the bad ones versus the good ones. But I just think like finding someone on social media is easier because if you know that you have similar interests and you're kind of connecting through the same things, it's going to be a
Yeah.
little bit of an easier friendship to make
Because
versus in real
you're
life.
because you're already posting like
Yeah,
about your interests. And I think like when you and I met, we had common interests, and
totally.
you would comment on my story, I would comment on yours, and then we just kind of connected that way. Also interesting because Matt used to, before we started dating, like
Yeah.
freshman, sophomore, junior year, he used to always comment on my Insta stories because I used to like go on and like talk, I don't know,
Yeah.
it was embarrassing, about like whatever was bothering me. And
Yeah.
he would like comment back and like we would have like really good conversation. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known that about him if it wasn't for social media. So I don't think
Exactly.
that people should like rule out, dating online or like
Yep.
obviously or meeting people online, but obviously, do it safely. But I
Yeah,
definitely
of
think
course. Yeah.
that
We're not going to the deep dark web.
like hold on everyone, just want to say safety first. Um but it's interesting because like if you look at like any of those like bigger influencers, they meet their close friends through social media because like social media
Yeah.
is like their coworkers now, and that's how they kind of vet each other. But it's cool because
Yeah.
that's how you meet
It
new
is.
people.
Exactly. And like you lived in the same state. Like we both lived in Massachusetts. Obviously, you lived a little bit more slower than I do, but we would have probably never met in real life. Like, how would we have met in real life? You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
We wouldn't.
even though you have people who are in the same state as you that could potentially be your friend, you're not like actively going out. And sometimes it's just easier to like, again, answer someone's Instagram story, connect with them through DMs or whatever, and like create that internal, like, dialogue and friendship or whatever through
Yeah.
social media. So that way, when you go and meet them in person, you don't feel as
Awkward.
uncomfortable and awkward. And it just makes it a little bit easier. I don't know. I just think that social media has definitely been a big game changer in my life over the past 5 years and just feeling more secure with like who I am and being my true self and being like the personality that I want to be and have because I feel like sometimes I was closing myself off for people that I knew in real life because I didn't
Mm,
want to be judged. And it's like, fuck that. Like, we only get one life. I'm not trying to have friends who aren't genuinely there for me or who don't genuinely love the type of person that I am. Like, we do want to change sometimes, right, for the better, but we don't want to change our whole entire personality just to make someone else feel more comfortable. And social
amen.
media makes you feel so much better, I feel like.
Well, because like you can also just like they can vet you. Like you're
Yeah,
like, this is how I am. I also just show up on social media as I am. Some days I wear makeup, some days I don't. I don't
totally.
even care. I just
Yeah.
don't even care. Like some days I look full glam, some days most days I really don't.
No,
I need
it's
to
so
wash
true though.
my
You're showing up as you are.
I don't care. And if people don't find me annoying on social media, you're gonna find me annoying in real life.
Yeah.
Okay. I
I love that. What you
like
see is what you get.
what you see is what you fucking get, babe. Okay, like we can like go up from here. But no,
Yep.
seriously, like it's a great way to like vet people.
Totally. I agree. Because, like you said, what you see is what you get. Like, the way that I act on social media is the way that I assume I act in real life. And I try to be like as
You
authentic as
do.
possible. Right. So it's like, again, if you don't like that video of me, then again, you're not going to like what I have to say in front of your face.
It just gets
So
worse in
it
person.
just, yeah, we just keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah. it is what it is. But okay, transitioning into finding friends and talking about that, you moved out of state, what, over a
Oh
year
yeah.
ago now to a whole different state. So how do you feel like it is trying to find friends there? Like, do you feel like you have to find a ton of friends? Do you feel like you just need more like, I don't know, acquaintances? Like, talk to us a little bit about that and like moving away from your core group of friends.
Yeah, it's so hard because I mean, I have my four girlfriends from high school. I have my one girlfriend from college, and then I have you, and you're all in
Yeah.
Massachusetts. And I think for me, I've been trying to make new friends. And what I joined was like this like walking club where essentially like they just say like, okay, we're gonna walk at this place. It's gonna be like 2 miles. Come as you are. You can bring your dog if you want. And then you just show up. And there's been like 50 to 100 girls who show up and we just walk.
Yeah,
And
I
a
love
lot
that.
of the times no one knows each other. And it's really fun just to be like, oh, like where are you originally from? Like, what do you do? Because most of the people in the group moved from out of state. I don't know if I
Yeah,
told you
which is
that,
so
but I think
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think the girls who host it, they've all come from out of state and are like trying to
Okay.
make friends.
Okay. Well, that's
Um,
smart. That's smart.
yeah, and they also have like events and stuff, and it's been really fun for me. But one of the challenging parts is like when I like meet a group of girls, like I don't know about you, but I can't figure out what age people are. Like I think
Yeah.
I look like 20 right now, but if I had a full
Yes.
face on, I could easily look 28.
Yeah. No, that's very
And
valid. I don't know anyone's age.
And I'm not discriminating against different people's ages, but I'm just saying that I think that there's a really big difference between someone that's 22 or 21 and
Yeah.
someone that's 28. I mean, personally, because I'm in my like wellness era where like I'm in bed before 9.
Yeah.
I'm changing my pillowcase 3 times a week. Like
Yeah.
I have my intense skincare routine. I'm going to
Yep.
work out in my spin class with my little like sports bra and my head matching headband and
Yeah, you're
then
not going to the club.
on the weekend I enjoy a nice mocktail or a glass of overpriced champagne.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
and
you're
it's
yeah.
I'm not going to the club.
No.
I'm not
You ain't going
the
to
only
those
time
bars.
the only time you will catch me at a club is if one of my girlfriends get married and it's like for their bachelorette party. Like I'd be
Yeah.
like, bitch, I'm
Oh,
showing up for
100%.
you. Yeah, I'll
100%.
show up for
Same.
you. I will be the person you want me to be, but know
Yep.
that I will slightly be petrified to walk into a club. But I will show up if that's what you want.
Yeah.
So
No, it's very interesting.
it's crazy. So for me, like, when I'm meeting new people, I'm like, how, like, I don't want to ask someone how old they are, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like, but also like I could meet people my age that are like really, really like to drink and all of that. And I just have like
Everyone's so different.
I have a very much a different lifestyle than most people, I would say. Like I'm
Yeah.
again, like I'm in my like wifey era. Like I'm like a homemaker,
Yeah.
I'm trying to like really settle down. It's just different than people that
It
are just
is.
like still in college, like work weird hours, which is fine. There's no hate there. And like I was once there, but my
Yep.
lifestyle is just very different. So it's hard for me to try to find people in groups that I fit into.
Yeah, it's hard to connect like that, I feel like, because you just don't know, like you said, you don't know someone's age. You're not just going to be like, hey, how old are you? Like, you want to
So
obviously
sorry.
get to know someone genuinely, but at the same time, you're like, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to waste mine. Like, let's get down to the nitty gritty. But I guess, like, kind of going into, I mean, I haven't really needed to like find friends necessarily, but I'm open to meeting new people always. I
Of
feel like
course.
I feel like I have an outgoing personality. I don't feel like I need to hide myself when, if so, okay, kind of backtracking a little bit. I started a spicy book club a couple months ago. And because I
Love
felt like
that.
there was no one around me or reads spicy romance. Um, and so we've kind of like formed our little group, and it's been great getting to know other women. And obviously we share the same common, of like we want to read spice. We love it. We have that common whatever. And I think that like for me, meeting those new people, I don't hold back in my personality. Like I feel like I'm
Me
very
neither.
much like this is who I am. If we vibe, we vibe. If we don't, we don't. That's totally okay. But I'm not
Right.
looking to like get really deep with anyone new necessarily. Like if it happens organically, I think that that's great. I'm not opposed. But I'm reiterating this because I posted something on TikTok the other day about adult friendships. And I kind of mentioned that. And a woman was like, oh, here's a different perspective. I moved to a different state. I'm actually trying to get deeper with other friend groups and stuff, but they're not wanting to go deep. Right? And like here I am saying like, "Oh, I'm not really trying to go deep with people." I know, I just feel like it's such a weird balance of like you want to get deeper, you don't want to get deeper. Like where's that like middle ground of
Yeah.
I don't know, like finding friends. It's like it's such a weird thing, I feel like.
I also think that like my friends from home, like all of you girls, have really shown me like what true friendship is. And you guys are
Yeah,
all just such high quality friends that I don't want to settle for someone that's not going to show up for me or that's going to be flaky. And it's
totally.
hard to find people with common interests. Like you said, I think that the book club is a really great way for you to just connect with other women. And it doesn't
Yeah,
also have to be so serious. I think some of the
it's
times that we also
fun.
like we go into friendships thinking that it has to be like you have to be my best
Lifelong.
friend. Like,
Yeah,
right? And I think, going back to people are in your life for a season and a reason. And a therapist recently said to me that, take a look around at all of your people in your life. All of them have a purpose, like all of your
totally.
friends. And like each friend identified them for what purpose. And I was like, I've never thought about it that way. And
Yeah,
like,
I like that. That's a good perspective.
it's so true because like I can think of, one of my friends, I go to her for like sound advice. Like
Yeah,
you, I go to just to like I don't even know, talk about like TMI stuff.
everything. Yeah, yeah. Open
Like
book.
my other friend, like I'll go to for like beauty problems, whatever. Like it's very interesting. I mean, obviously there's more to the relationship than that, but it's like,
Yeah, of course.
what do you get out of each of your friendship? And because I was kind of talking to her about how I'm struggling to make friends down here. And she's like,
Yeah,
it can just be like someone you just show up and like read a book with. Like it doesn't need to
I love
be,
that.
you need to be
That's
giving them
serious.
your life info.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of hard for me though, because I don't know if it's
Right.
just like a Pisces Virgo thing where I feel like I don't want to say I feel like I can trust everyone that I meet, but I'm very forthcoming. Like I'm very open.
Oh, same.
I will share
I'm an
anything
open
with
book.
you. Like there's nothing for me to hide. I'm very like, I'll be a listening ear. Do we got to get deep? Like what's going on? Like I'm very
Right.
I might be too open. And I think that's
I
gotten
am
me
too.
into weird situations with friendships because I almost give too much to a friendship and then I expect that in return and not even like expect it to the level that I give because I know that I'm giving maybe a little bit more than the average person might give. But it's like if I don't get some of that back, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like what are we doing here? Like what is this friendship? And then I start to overthink it a little bit and then I'm like, and then I get upset with myself because I'm like, maybe I gave too much and I expected too much. And like, I need to meet people where they're at, like moving forward in adult friendships that I
Totally.
have, like whether it's it's been there forever or it's newer or whatever it might be. It's like I just need to meet people where they're at. I need to take the emotion sometimes out of a friendship and just let it flow organically. And if that means that we have to kind of step away from each other for a little bit, then we step away from each other. And I think I'm finally realizing that and growing more as a person and not putting so much pressure on like I don't know, like I need to be with this person all the time, or I need to reach out more, or I'm not getting the
Yeah.
attention that I want or deserve from a specific friendship. Like, I don't know. It just, again, it's such a weird, interesting space to be in as you get older because everyone's timelines are different. Everything starts to shift a little bit. It's just a weird feeling.
Yeah, and with like, meeting people where they're at, I think that like we're starting to enter the season of our life, like late 20s, going into your 30s, where
Yeah.
you just need easy fucking friendships. Like we don't need the friendships
Yes.
where we're constantly walking on eggshells. We're constantly like, are they mad at me? Are they this? Are they that? We
Yeah.
don't have time
Fucking
for that.
hate that.
We need to be able to go 6 months without talking and being like, I'm sorry, I was in a depression hole. Can you
Yeah.
come and see me? And then being like,
Yep.
girl, what do you need? I'll bring a
Yeah.
casserole. These are the
Yeah.
kind of people we need in our circle because life just gets tougher and tougher as we age, as
Yeah.
everyone has told us, it just gets tougher and tougher.
Yep.
And it's just, like, and you also just don't want to exhaust yourself by putting in so much effort and expecting
Yes.
people to give the same thing in return.
Yep,
because at the end of the day, like not everyone's going to match your energy.
totally. And also, like, something that you just said that is almost, like, slipping my mind. Oh my god. Um, what was I just thinking of with friendships? I think it was, like, okay, so we were talking about meeting people where they're at, right? Like, not expecting too much from them, and I can't fucking think of the
I was saying
thought.
like easy friendships.
Ugh.
Um,
I think I was thinking of, like, um oh my god, it's, like, literally right in the front of my mind, and I
there.
can't think of it. We're gonna have to move on, and
I know.
if I
I
can
wish
think
we
of
could
it, I'll
like
come back.
record
I
as we're
know.
like
Rewind.
rewind.
Pause.
I know.
I
I
can't
know.
think.
But yeah, so it's just, we need easy friendships. Like we don't want friendships where we're like straining.
I
And
remember it.
yes, go
Sorry.
ahead.
So, I want you said something that I was like, "Holy shit, this is it." I want friendships where people can feel comfortable coming to me with, like, an issue, right? Like, if it's
Hmm.
and also, like, if we don't have that friendship, like, that's totally fine. I know where I stand with certain people, and I'm not gonna give my all to them, and I'm not gonna, like, pour my heart and soul into them because I know I'm not getting that back. But at this point in my life, like, I just want friends to know that they can come to me with, like, an issue, or if they're going through something, like, because you said, "I'm in a depression hole, like, come help me," or something, right? Like, you had just said that, something along those lines, and
Yeah.
if you're going through it, if you're like, "Listen, I just can't fucking give anything in this friendship, like, I'm just going through a lot of ups and downs. I don't know, like, my marriage is not where it's at, or, like, this work thing isn't working," like, just be fucking open and honest. Like, again, we're adults. Like, whatever happened to just tell it like it is. Like, just tell me what's going on in your life. If you need to take a
Oh
step back
yeah.
and you're not going to be there for me 100%, 80%, whatever, like, if you can't show up, that's okay. Like, just let me know. Because if not,
Hmm.
it's such a weird dialogue of like, again, you're walking on eggshells with friends. Like, you're like,
You don't know
should I
what's
go to
going
this
on.
person? Yeah. Can I confide in this one? Is she going to get mad if I talk to this one? Like, it's such a weird dynamic. It's like, let's just be fucking honest and open with each other. If it's not working, it's not fucking working. And like, that's okay. Because I'm not about to walk on
Yeah.
eggshells for the rest of my fucking life. Like,
And
it's just not it.
I feel like that's why my friendships, like with all of you girls, like work so well because that's how
Yeah.
our relationship, like we're all just like, like earlier you were messaging me, you're like, I can't give it 100% today. I'm like, show up
Yeah.
as you are.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you also said something, or I think I said something. I was like thinking about it for a second, like, not everyone's going to be where you're at. And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
say, like, don't expect people, like, don't go into friendships being like, I'm going to settle for people to be shitty friends. That's not what I'm saying.
Totally.
I'm just like with your current friendships, if you have good friendships, obviously expect them to be here, but also understand that if they're having bad days, meet them like
Yeah.
where they're at to make them 100%. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that if you're meeting new people, don't go into like the relationship thinking that they're going to give 100% because you just don't know what to expect of them yet,
I
is
love
what
that
I'm
point.
saying.
Yeah.
So the people you have in your life, you don't need people in your life that are going to make you feel like shit.
Yep.
So don't settle for crappy friendships, but also when you're meeting new people, don't have the expectations so high that they
Yes.
can't,
Boom.
that like
Love
you're just
that.
going to be disappointed.
Yeah. Don't set yourself up for disappointment. Go in carefree. Like, this
Yeah.
could be a very good friend for a long time. Or again, this could be a quick friend for a reason and a season, like you always say.
I thought about
Yeah.
the other day. So I was in a group chat with some of the girls that I met, and we were trying to plan like a party or whatever. And I was like, I really, again, I'm in my wellness era. Like, I need to do a
Yeah.
weekend sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's do a weekend. And everyone agreed to do a weekend. And then all of a sudden they changed it to Sunday and like a Sunday night. And it's, like a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And like Sunday night at a Christmas party. And you know what? I just said like, and they just kept talking in this group chat. And I just like, yesterday I was so annoyed. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to leave the group chat. And I didn't,
Yes.
it's not like I unfollowed them on Instagram or anything like that. But it's not like these friendships were that serious. But like,
Yeah.
I can also still see them in person. I'm just gonna be like, hey, what's up? And act like
Yep.
nothing's wrong because I just don't care anymore. I am
Yeah.
all about protecting my energy and my peace.
I
And if
love
a
that.
friendship or a relationship is not working out for me, like, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I'm just gonna get my bag and leave.
Yeah. And I think that's important though to note. It's like if someone's like leaving a group chat or they like, or if they unfollow you, like, I just don't think it's that serious anymore. I don't think we should be taking it that serious. If someone needs to protect their peace, their energy, whatever, they hit the unfollow button. I wish you well. I hope that you're getting what you need. I hope that you're
Warmest
doing,
regards.
yeah, warmest regards. Like, if you leave a group text and you don't tell me about it, I hope you're doing great. Like, it's just not that serious. I just don't think that we have to make this such a friendship should not be this fucking hard as we get older. It should just be an easy, casual thing. Like,
Well,
I
it's
don't
so
know.
funny because like with like you girls from home, like if I put you all in a group chat and one of you like were to leave, it's so interesting because you would probably communicate, be like, group chats overwhelm me, text me separately, and then you would
Yeah.
leave and I'd be like, oh, no
Yeah.
problem. But that's the
Yep.
thing is like we communicate so fucking well, like my
I think,
friends and
yeah,
I. So I think that's the
exactly.
also issue I'm having with like meeting new people. I'm like, how do you communicate? I don't
Yeah.
know. But one
Yeah.
thing I really want to touch upon is alcohol and friendships and
Yeah. That's a
how that
good
can
one.
how that can really impact your friendships.
Yeah. I yeah. I feel
It's
like
just so
we have so much to talk about with this one. It's a weird subject, right? Because I feel like again, no shame if you're like drinking and that makes you happy and you want to do it for fun and you go out to a bar or a club or a restaurant, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I think that like the shaming around people who aren't wanting to do those things with you is like where I have the issue. It's like, you don't want to go to this bar with me on a Saturday night till fucking 1 a.m. Like, no, I don't. That's just not going to interest me.
right. I don't
I'd
want to
rather go
go
to
to
a
a Christmas party.
restaurant. Yeah.
Right. I
Like,
don't
it's
want to drink at a
okay.
Christmas party on a
And it doesn't
Sunday.
mean that I don't like you as a friend. It just means that we have different expectations of like socializing, I think, if that's the right
Mm,
way to put it. Like the way that we socialize is a little bit different. If like, and I feel like, again, not to like, I'm not trying to jump ahead or anything, but I feel like personally I'm in that weird middle space of friendships because I'm 29, right? Like my husband and I, we don't want kids anytime soon. We want to do other things. We want to travel. We don't want to be tied down to a child yet. That doesn't mean that we don't want them eventually. But then on the other hand, like I'm not ready to like, you know, again, I'm not ready to jump into the kid thing. And like, I feel like most of my
no.
friends on one spectrum are like, they're all having kids or they have at least one child. And I love that for them. It's amazing. And I love being, an auntie to them and all of that. I love it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm not relating to them all the time when it comes to that kind of thing. And then on the other hand, I feel like there's friends that like they want to go out, right? They might do a weeknight like bar or something or like an after work thing or again, they're going out more on the weekends than I am. Whereas like I kind of need to be prepared for like what I'm about to do on the weekend. Like I'm not really like
Right.
going out on a whim. It's not like, "Hey, what are you doing? Let's go meet up at this bar." Like that's just not me anymore. Which there's no
Correct.
shame on either side of the friend groups. Like there's no animosity, there's no uncomfortableness. It's like you do you. Like whatever's wherever you're thriving right now makes me so happy for you. It's just that, and I love where I'm at too. I don't feel like I'm in a weird timeline where I'm like, I'm too far ahead or I'm not far along as much as I should be. Like, I don't feel like my timeline should be anywhere else right now, if that makes sense. I just feel like
Yep.
it's just it's a weird period that you don't think about sometimes as you're like, I have great friends, but we're also just
Right.
in different
Different.
stages of our life at the moment.
Yeah. And you're right where you're supposed to be. I think it kind of goes back to our timeline episode that we kind of talked about in
Yeah.
society norms. But it's really hard because when I'm meeting new people, especially, there's such an emphasis around like, let's go get a drink. Let's go out and drink. We
Yeah.
need alcohol to socialize. And that's really difficult for me because I'm like, I don't need alcohol. Like, I'm
Yeah.
fucking weird without alcohol. Okay.
Yeah.
I will tell you everything about me without alcohol. So imagine,
Yes.
yeah, anyways. But also to your
Imagine you
point,
with
like, I do,
alcohol. You'd be spilling the
yeah,
tea.
I mean, seriously. I mean, honestly, with me in like my wedding and stuff, like I know I'm gonna be drinking, but like this is literally like 99 days away, and I'm already
Yeah.
planning like, okay, do I have my liquid IV? Do I have my Tylenol ready? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the
You're
era I'm
preparing
in.
yourself.
I have to. I mean, but yeah, like the other side of the spectrum is like people are having kids and all those, and then I feel like you and I were kind of just like in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's a weird period because it's not like I feel left out because I don't want kids right now. I do want kids eventually.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep,
not like
totally.
they're leaving me out, but I just don't understand what it's like to be a mom. I can't relate. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
I can't relate to the people that want to go out and drink until they're blue in the face. I just don't understand anymore, you
Yep.
know? So it's hard because it's like, what do we talk about? Because this is such a big part of your
Yeah.
life. It's like either the alcohol is a big part of your life or the kids and then the people
Yeah.
that are like into their wellness era. There's so few of us. Like
I
not like
know.
wellness era. Like again, like I do drink, like go out and have a drink,
Yeah,
whatever.
of
But
course.
I'm not in my get a Tito's and crayon in a plastic cup time anymore.
Yes, no, same. We're elevated. We want our prosecco in a pretty wine glass of some or champagne flute and a nice steak tartare. Like that is where I'm at.
Of course.
And like I'm spending my money on experiences, I think, and like that's where my mindset is. Like I'm all about the
Me too.
experience. Like when I'm going out somewhere, like and who I'm going out with, like I want it to be an experience. Like I'm not about to just kind of like go out on a whim and like you said, just go to like a random bar and like I don't just want to sit there anymore and like hear all the loud music and like you said, get a fucking Tito's and crayon and a plastic cup. Like it's just not my lifestyle anymore. I've been there, done that. And then on the other hand, like I don't want to stay in 24/7 and have a baby and like deal with the kid situation. And again,
Yeah.
there's no like right or wrong. It's just I never like thought about the stage that I'm in now. And again, it's like when I do I don't know, it's such a weird thing to say because it's like I don't have any issue with any of the friend groups that I have. And it's like when we do meet up, it's great. There's no issue. Again, it's like I love to play with the
Yeah.
kids and I love to like be out with the other friends like that I have and everything and like the different groups.
Right.
But my mindset moving forward now is like I'm wanting to if I'm spending money it's like it's on an experience. Like I'm going out for a reason. It's planned. That's just where I'm at. And I don't think that we should have to apologize for that. Like you're
No.
doing
And
you and I'm doing me.
we're reading the menu ahead of time and there has to be food
Yes.
involved.
Yeah,
There
we're
has to
not
be
going
food
out drinking
involved.
with no food. Like I can't live that lifestyle anymore.
Oh my God. And I'm not
I'm
talking
dead.
like just like a bite to eat. No, I'm talking like I need a full meal, a
Yeah, we
protein,
need
a
to be
carb, and a
fed.
vegetable.
Yeah.
Protein, carb, and vegetable, and a glass of water.
Yeah, with a glass of wine on the side. It's just, yeah, it's a very interesting time, but I will say real quick, before we start to like wrap this up, again, going back to the TikTok video that I posted, a single woman who was 29 commented on my post and she's like, I never saw it from a like what did she say? I never had seen a married perspective because I had, said like I'm in that weird middle space. And she's like, I can
Yeah,
understand the weird middle space being a single, 29-year-old woman, but women, why do I keep saying it plural?
it's
Anyways,
okay. No worries.
but she's like, being married, she's like, I never thought that a married person would have that perspective. So I think it's like, it's an
Yeah,
interesting way to kind of put it out there. It's like, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're with the same boyfriend or girlfriend forever, it's like, it's okay. Like, you can feel this way about adult friendships because it can be a little weird where, yes, you've had these friendships forever and they're very tight knit and you feel comfortable with them. But again, we're all on our different timeline. Like, I think the timeline just comes back into play. It's like, you don't have to get rid of that friend. You guys are just at a different point in your life. Like, maybe you just step away from
right.
each other for a little bit and then you come back, regroup, and it could be something different. Like, I just think we don't have to cut people off so quickly. And just because we're not talking as much as maybe we once used to, don't take that as like, I never want to talk to you again. Like, don't
Yeah,
just understand where I'm coming from, just like I'm understanding where you're coming from, I guess,
yeah.
if
And
that
I
makes
think
sense.
it goes back to meeting people where they're at, you know.
Yeah.
If one of my friends were to have kids right now, I would say, okay, like clearly you can't go out to dinner or like, go out and do whatever because you just had a kid, but I'll come to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand fully what you're going through, but I'll show up for you in the ways that I need to. And I think
Yep.
that that's the other aspect of it is like, like you don't need to cut people out just because they're on a different timeline, but it's just like
Yeah.
learning to meet people where they're at. And I think like during the next, like, even like 5 or 6 years of our life, it's really just going to be meeting people where they're at and,
Totally.
be like, what do you need out of the friendship right now? And,
Yeah.
when my friends start to have kids and stuff, they might just be like, I need you to just like watch the baby for 5 minutes so I can shower or take a shit.
Yep.
Like, I'd
Yeah.
be like, sure,
Yeah.
that's what I will do for you. Or
Yeah.
them being like, I need you to wash my hair because I can't wash it. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. And I think that, and as people start to like move out on their own, and if they're single, living alone, like if they get like, I don't know, I'm just saying like 5 years from now when my friend that's single, like ends up like having a surgery and like, I would show up for them the way that they need to. You're like, okay, I'm going to move your pillows. I'm going to whatever, help you out.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
like what I'm saying is that like we're all going to be at different timelines, especially in the next like, I mean, I would even say 10 years. It's just
Yeah.
still going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
And, I think we just need to meet our friends where we're at, especially if there are good friends. And it's just learning, how that friendship changes over time. Because my friends
Yeah.
that I've been friends with since high school, our relationship has definitely changed.
Of
Um,
course.
and,
Everyone grows
and I
up and does different things and
and
changes personality.
I think it'll continue to change, but not in a bad way. It's just
Yeah.
based on like what we're going through and like where we're
Yep.
at in our life and who's in our life and who's not in our life, you know?
Exactly. And I think that, again, it could be like a 5 to 10 year period where we're all kind of going through our own thing. But I think eventually, like, you all come together, right? We're all gonna, for the most part, be married, have children, have a house. Like, you kind of get to that point eventually. I mean, and again, for majority, I'm not speaking for like everyone because you don't have to do those things, but I think there will be a point in time in your life where you do find more interest, you come together a little bit more, and you go back to maybe like how you once were, but just a little bit different. And that's okay. Like, you just, like you keep saying, you have to meet people where they're at. And adult friendships are so iffy that I think you're at a point in your life, like going into my 30s, I'm like, what do I want in a friendship? Who do I want to be there? Who am I giving my time and energy to? Because life is too short. Like, we don't want people who are just gonna be flaky for us. Like, we're moving on from
Yeah.
that. We're not 20, 21 anymore. Like, we can lose friendships and grow new ones. Like, it is what it is, you know?
And given how hard it is to grow new friendships, I also just kind of want to leave with this note is that like the friends that you do have that are great friends, like hold on to them. And if you
Yeah,
think that your relationship is slipping away, be like, listen, like how can I support you right now as a friend and during this season of your life? Because you might
totally.
be supporting them the way that you used to support them 5 years ago when their life was totally different. And
Yeah,
they might need a shift in your relationship. So for me, like right now, I'm like, I need to do everything to maintain my friendships because I don't have any friends down here.
yeah.
And part of that is learning that I need to shift the way that, I interact
Shift
with
your
my friends on a daily
perspective.
basis. And I'm okay with that because again, if it means that I only have my few friends that I have up in Massachusetts for the rest of my life, I don't make any friends down here,
Yeah,
that's fine because I'm all about quality over quantity.
love that. We're ending on that note. Quality over quantity. Well, besties, I hope that you enjoyed this adult friendship episode and you can leave with some little tidbit of information that is helpful for you. But as always, I just feel like read the room, read the energy, read the vibes, and trust your gut because it'll never
Do
steer you in the
you?
wrong direction. Do you, be you, love you? Is that like our new tagline? I just feel like,
I don't know.
I
I
don't
feel like
know.
that's kind of like Barbie. That sounds like
I
Barbie,
know.
right? Wasn't that like Barbie, do you,
I
be you, for
mean,
you?
I do
Isn't that a
love
song?
Barbie.
I
Maybe.
do
Who
too. She's so
knows?
cute.
All right, besties, we love you and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.